Macdill Air Force Base, Tampa, Florida. It's a great installation. It's kind of a little city unto itself. The actor Jimmy Stewart actually filmed a movie here in the early 50s. And I forget the name, the specific name, but I think it was Strato Fortress or Airlift Bomber. But basically, they filmed that movie here. And I kind of get a kick out of when that movie comes on, American Movie Classic, seeing how Macdill Air Force Base looked 60 years ago. Well, here we are early morning at Macdill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, and going to do some back and traps today, and in preparation for the Masters over 50 at the IFBB North American. So we'll kick off with some bent over rows for the lower lats. The nice thing about this facility is it's so large, you got plenty of room to move around. Okay. Got to get those old bones warmed up. As I do my sets, I try to do them a little quicker the closer I get to the show. I'm 3 weeks out from tomorrow for the North American, and being 51 years old now, it's a little harder to train like I used to when I was back in my 20s. Oh boy. Let's see if we can get 15. I still enjoy bodybuilding and working out, especially with Maria helping me. She pretty much does my diet, make sure I eat every 2 hours and eat the right things, right?
Yes.
Don't miss any workouts. Whew.
I'm his drill sergeant.
You're my drill sergeant. I started competing back in 1979. Was my first show. And I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. And about all I can remember from that show was staying in the hotel that night, and the maid came in to make up the room, and I was trying to shave my legs. And oh, thanks. I still remember the look on her face, seeing this 18-year-old boy trying to shave his legs. I'm sure she still talks about that today. Do some seated rows for the mid-back. Trying to get a decent number of repetitions in these sets. Now that I'm 3 weeks out from the show, try to cut it up a little bit more, burn a few more calories, and rather than using a lot of weight. I weigh about 245 right now, so we're thinking maybe 235 for the show, maybe a little less once we drop the water. But you never know. It's like putting a cake in the oven. You never know what it's going to be like till it comes out. Could be good, could be bad. Trying to eat every 2 hours. Eat clean.
Cutting your carbs out.
But Maria's been cycling my carbs. A 4-day cycle. Carb pretty heavily one day. Then she'll cut it down by about a third the second day, another third the third day, and then 0 carbs on the 4th day, and then repeat the cycle, which pretty much keeps the body guessing, because if you maintain your carb intake, the body's going to adapt to that, and you want to change it up. Whew.
Good job.
Hopefully the lats are there. I still enjoy bodybuilding training as much as I ever did. You know, maybe more now. It's funny how the older you get, you develop an appreciation for something, but maybe your ability to do it as well as you did when you were younger is less because of age. But if you can combine that drive at the right age, then you'll have something. I try to do 3 sets per exercise. starting with the basic movement and progressing to the finer finishing movements towards the end of the workout. I have a lower back injury that has plagued me for years, so I got to be somewhat cautious on the amount of weight that I use and exercise strict form, because when it goes out on me, I'm usually down for a couple of weeks. This exercise, for years, I tried to use as much weight as I possibly could. You see a lot of people swinging when they do the movement, but I found that, and with Maria's help, that if I do very strict and stay in an L shape with the back straight, I get more feel from it and more progress from it than if I swing. And you want to get some type of clarity in your upper back, which is something I have problems with, to get the bubbles, so to speak, that you focus on clean form and not necessarily on the amount of weight that you use. I've done, I think, just slightly less than 40 shows over the course of 32 years. I think it was about that. But I had a bit of a hiatus from 1987 to 2007 when I was in the military for 20 years. So while I still trained, I didn't get on stage. And then after I retired, I figured it was a great time to try to make a bit of a comeback. So, been competing, I guess, what, 4 years, 5 years approximately now since then. 5th season. Really enjoy it, even at this age. Lucky number 13. Woo. We'll do just a slight variation of this. Close grip. More for the mid-back. I'm lucky to have Maria, who pushes me, who's the champion in her own right. I've been taking the women's national military bodybuilding championship title 3 times, and definitely more genetically gifted predisposition for the sport than I am, and much more disciplined. Keeps me between the lines. All right, last set here. Okay, it's a great movement for working the inner lats. Some people mistake it for a modified tricep press, when in actuality it's great for training the inside of your lat where it ties in down at the bottom. Don't need a lot of weight, and more of a stretch and squeeze type movement. Okay. I remember back in 73, how I got my start in bodybuilding. I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger on, I think it was Wide World of Sports, on a little black and white 13-inch television set. My brother and I were watching, and I said, man, I'd love to look like that guy. Of course, I still don't look like him, but I've been trying to for a lot of years. Oh boy. Wow, that's it for lats. That's it for back. Move on to doing some shrugs for the traps. Try to get some traps like my partners. Just a 45, yeah. I try to do 3 types of shrugs. Front, on the Smith, Start with the front and then progress to a rear shrug, which is a little more unusual, and then finish off with dumbbells.
Higher. Nice. Good. Good job. Up. Again. One more. One more.
A little bit of a warm-up. Progress to another 45. I really don't use a significant amount of weight, primarily because I can't anymore, but also because I try to get the more reps, a little bit of 4 more reps. At least that's my excuse. I'll stick to that. I won't say I'm just getting too old and can't do it like I used to. That's probably part of it. And then when you factor in the diet, you know, even if you're eating every 2 hours and taking in carbs, your fat levels are so low that your body's using up the fat that it's got, so it compounds everything. I have a lot of respect for competitors that are able to do that and bring it into the stage, you know, and make it look effortless. Up. Okay. Thank you. See what we can do about some rear shrugs. Trained at a lot of gyms, especially military facilities. Having been stationed at 9 different locations over 20 years. Training gyms in Florida and Alabama, Korea, the Middle East. A lot of different variety of gyms. Some with practically nothing, some that were intense, some decent like this, or some of the other commercial facilities. But I've always been able to work out. Never had a prolonged period where I couldn't train. So that's always been a good thing. All right, that's it for rear delts, or rear traps, excuse me. I gotta tell you, as far as competitive bodybuilding goes, for me anyway, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it to the level that I do it without the love and support of my fiance Maria. She pretty much keeps me on the straight and narrow. And it's funny because in bodybuilding, the general public really will never accept the sport. So it's more the competitors, the promoters, the officials, and the photographers that nucleus that keeps the sport going, and we support each other. And that's really one of the beauties of the sport, is that it's self-generating. And you know, people like Tim Gardner and some of the officials, the Florida officials, and Peter Potter, Gary Udid, people like that keep things running and keep the sport alive. It's nice to see that, the figure, the fitness, the bikini, and now the new physique classes. I'm pretty excited about seeing the women's physique progress, because I think there's a lot of potential in that area. So it's nice to see that. I'm at the end of my competitive bodybuilding career, but that won't mean that I still don't go to the shows and support the other competitors, because I enjoy watching bodybuilding and the other sports as much as I do participating. I remember the first show I won was the 1980 Teenage Mr. Idaho. That was under the AAU at the time. And I always remember that because, number one, it was my first win at a level 5, but also primarily because my older brother won the open class. So he took the Mr. Idaho title. I took the Teenage Mr. Idaho title. both brothers. And at that time, I don't know if it's been repeated since, but that was pretty much a first for the bodybuilding world. And that's probably that's one of my fonder memories when my brother was competing. So always enjoyed that. Whew. That was basically back in traps for me, and I thank you for the opportunity.